2020, another episode with the legendary drummer David Abbruzzese from Pearl Jam.
Yeah, this is a good one.
It's so good, except for the fact that both of your internet connections could blow me.
Yeah, this is still in the early days. We were figuring stuff out. David's in some like lair somewhere in the world. So, and
you can't even Amazon shit to that guy.
Right.
Like, what,
but if
what
you
do
check out
do?
the YouTube video of this, you might get to see a little peek of where he's living. So
yeah, true. Yeah, there's some behind the scenes there.
Here's the thing, but we got to be very, very concise when we say this. David Abbruzzese was totally ruined as far as taking the chance to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And when I say ruined, I mean they screwed him terribly. And by we, I mean you, me, and all of us listening, and then everyone that you know and everyone that they know should go and rally for David, because if there's anybody that should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, like with this whole controversy going on, it is our friend David Abbruzzese, as you'll listen as he tells you the stories behind Pearl Jam, behind what happened with Guns N' Roses. Like, Siobhán, you blew his mind on this one.
He blew my mind, and what a down-to-earth guy. I mean, I think everybody really has to tune into this episode.
I don't know if down-to-earth is...
well,
he's out in
maybe
space.
floating above
Dude, I want to
Earth,
be wherever David is, dude. If you see what... First off, he's in a completely different time zone. Like, that guy, like, lives outside of space and time. Like, that David's just floating in his own, like, little spacesuit outside of everybody else. And like that, and we're just waving at him.
This is a fun episode.
It was, and it'll have stuff that you won't hear anywhere else. So, I mean, we really got to crack into a lot of the stories that he had and experiences,
and what it's like to be in arguably one of the biggest bands on the planet. So, check it out.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Benny Goodman, and welcome to another episode of 2020, where we may be socially distant, but we're certainly socially relevant. I wanted to, first off, introduce you to my lovely cohort in crime, Cory Peza, the other side of Shabrock, the SIO in the Shabrock. It's Siobhán Cronin, and on the dais is the legendary man on the Skins. He's played with two of the most incredible bands and many other bands beyond that you've never heard of. Mr. David Abbruzzese from Pearl Jam, Guns N' Roses. But he's larger than life because he's fucking awesome, because where he is, because you don't know what time it is here, but it's like, what, like 5 o'clock in the morning or some shit, dude?
No.
Undisclosed time and undisclosed location.
Well, let's recap a little bit so that people know. First off, this is part two of with David. If you don't know who David is, he played with Pearl Jam during the absolutely quintessential era of Pearl Jam. Well, he did the 10 tour. He was on Versus. He was on Vitalogy. The Pearl Jam that matters in my heart. And then he was in Guns N' Roses, for a lot of the Chinese Democracy. He's played with all kinds.
We never played a show, so I don't ever feel like I was really like in.
So you're kind of just like moonlit around.
Yeah, I checked out Guns N' Roses.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you sure they didn't check you out? So was it like a Tinder date with Axl Rose, but for like a long period of time?
No, I passed.
Yeah. Well,
regardless, the first-hand knowledge is fascinating. So
listen, I'm going to jump right into something that I am terribly curious about, because it bothers me. We've talked about it on previous shows. I want to say first off that I'm on your team because I love you as a person, but also as a drummer, as a fan of Pearl Jam. So I've always thought the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, like, yes, it's cool. It's like an interesting thing to watch in high definition. And there's been some amazing moments where you watch Prince and Tom Petty together, and, you've gotten to see Black Sabbath, and like, there's some cool shit, but there's so many bands that are smited, and there's so much bullshit, like, drama that goes on that, like, like Guns N' Roses, was it like Van Halen? It's just like fucking been terrible. But for the first time, they didn't allow you to be inducted with Pearl Jam when you were on, first off, 2 of the 3 biggest Pearl Jam albums, And you did the tours, the videos, the unplugged, all the shit that fucking matters to me as a fan at my ripe old age of 37. And they smited you. They fucking smited you. And it made me
I was
hate Eddie
smoked.
Vedder. It made me hate him. Because here's the thing is, because it's like Lee Kerslake. Do you know the story with Lee Kerslake, the drummer from Blizzard of Oz? So he had to die on his dying deathbed, David. He begged Ozzy Osbourne, listen, I know that you cut me out of being on these records. You even had Mike fucking Board and Puffy from Faith No More re-record my parts because you're a douchebag. But you want to know what? I'm dying. Could you send me a fucking record? Not any money. Just send me a record that says, you know what, Lee Kerslake, you were in Blizzard of Oz. You played with Randy Rhoads. You were at Ozzy's fucking height. Just let me die with a fucking platinum record. And they took it away from you, man. They took it away from you like Ozzy took away all those Jet Publishing recordings, like Don Arden took it away from him. Why?
Terrible.
How's that for a question?
That was a heavy intro, Ben. Maybe we could have lightened into it a little bit.
I feel like, but that's how I feel. Like it's so angry for you, like vicariously angry, because like the Lee Kerslake thing makes me upset. And then here's the thing is the Pearl Jam thing. It's so close to this. And I mean, Dave, thank God you're not dying, like that I know of. But like,
I just, that to me, just it's like I said at the time, it's that band has never shied away from taking a stand to do what's right. And that was, that's kind of surprised me. But at the same time, I mean, again, I don't think that era of the band really represents what that band was intended to be. Know what I mean?
you mean good?
But yeah, it was.
Because for me, like State of Loving Trust, you know what I mean? Like obviously, listen, I love 10. I'm not going to say that because you're on it or not on it. I love 10. I love Verses. I love Vitalogy. When all the like No Code and Binaural and stuff came out, I was like, this is fucking stupid. Like I wasn't into it. Like No Code came with a bunch of fucking ugly photos in it, and I was like, this is kind of horse shit. And I didn't like it. I really didn't like it as a staunch Pearl Jam advocate. So like I was not part of that movement. But then like years later I saw them and I was like, oh, they're a really great live band. But like you go back and you watch these performances of them in '93, you know what I mean? And you're like you are, if Guns N' Roses, for example, had Izzy Stradlin, you know what I mean, playing with you are the original, you are the classic as far as I'm concerned, because Dave Cruzen never played live with the band, to my knowledge. Right. Am I right?
A couple of impromptu.
Yeah, but he didn't do anything that mattered. Like you get the Unplugged, you did all the fucking shit for 10.
Well, I joined the band before the 10 record came out. I was in the band before they mattered, dude. Well, I remember Jeff Ament telling us that if we didn't sell 21,000 records, we weren't going to get to make a second one. We didn't even sign a record deal till the third album. That's how much we worked. No one else worked for us.
That's hold on. Can we all drink that in on 2020 here? Before we talk about our sponsor, LostSymphony.com, LostSymphony.com, Chapter 1 and Chapter 2, which David is also on, LostSymphony.com. But that Pearl Jam,
I gotta get mine,
did not get a record deal to the third record, and 10
it was a handshake deal up till then.
10 is considered by many to be one of the best entry discs ever, and where most people have like the sophomore flop, the sophomore fucking bullshit, the bullshit album. You know what I mean? The Guns N' Roses Lies. You know what I mean? Like you have Verses, which to me is like if 10 grew a little bit more balls and said, hey man, we're a fucking rock band and we're gonna fucking throw down and like fisticuffs and get ready to go, like Seattle style. And I was into it, man. I was fucking into it. And for me to be able to speak to you years later, after being a guy that like literally, like Cory's talked about it on previous podcasts, sat by the radio going just to get the song.
That's cool.
Just to get the song. The first tape I ever bootlegged was Versus by Pearl Jam, and my dad got so mad at me he made me go out and buy it. He actually docked $10 from my piggy bank and made me go to Record Town and buy it because he's like, you don't, because he was a software engineer. He's like, you don't copy copywritten shit. He's like, you go and pay that band. So just so you know, my dad took away my allowance to pay you, David.
Well, no, he took away your allowance to teach you a lesson, young man.
And to pay you. But you can frame it whatever way you'd like. Tell me where I'm wrong.
Well, because what did we get? 81 cents a record, 500,000 in debt. Oh yeah. Anyway.
We lost Cory again.
Cory. You got 2020, but that's fine. That's fine. So David, listen. I want you to also. We want to talk about. So what's some of the funniest stuff? Because Siobhán has told us, because she's in another band, much like Pearl Jam, much like Guns N' Roses, that people care about. What were some of the most interesting things you saw on tour? I don't mean like some girl's boob came out and you drank, champagne off of it. I mean like there was a cow walking around in the middle of the streets in Amsterdam, and then Eddie tried teaching it to yo-yo.
Man, there's so much stuff.
We can start with whatever you'd like.
Mike and I decided to hang out in Rotterdam, and then on our day off, go to Amsterdam a day early. And we had done an interview with these two collegiate girls for a fanzine. And they said that they had squatted a really cool house and we could crash there, blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. So it's 2 a.m. We just played a huge gig, and we're walking down the street, and we stop and they start yelling up at this window, and the light comes on 4 stories up, and they're like hooten, grooten, hooten, hooten, and the dude's like rooten, grooten, hooten, and then all of a sudden the mattress fucking sails out the window. And then there's some more rooten, grooten, and hooten, hooten, grooten, and then here comes some pillows and some sheets. So here's Mike and I just played the Enormo Dome and all that, and we're carrying a mattress through the streets of Rotterdam at 2:30 in the morning. And I said, man, I'm hungry. Let's get something to eat. And Mike says, let's first put this mattress down and then we'll get something to eat. And then he stopped and he looked at me really, and his head tilted, and he said, wow, I don't think those words have ever come out of my mouth in my life. I like that story. That was funny. But
so, well, how did it end though? Where did you end up? Where did the mattress end up?
On the floor in this really amazing old house.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And I remember the last thing that Mike said after we turned out the light was, "Can't believe I'm sleeping with the Arcus." That was my nickname at the time.
Have you ever had a case? Have you ever had a case of mistaken identity? Because I'll tell you, I had a case of mistaken identity in 1995. I went over to Israel. Now, anyone that goes to the Western Wall knows that it's segregated. You have women on one side and you have men on the other side, and you have the Sahal, which is the Israeli army with AR-15s, whatever the fuck they carry, but like big guns that are scary. And women are not allowed on the men's side. If you go on that side, the Sahal will forcefully remove you. Now, in 1995, when I was listening to Pearl Jam, I had long hair. And I know it's hard to believe, but under all of this scruff is a Backstreet Boy. Now, when I went to the men's side of the Western Wall, they call it the Wailing Wall from some. It's a holy place in this world. Mm-hmm. I had a bunch of army dudes from the Sahal come with guns and pretty much like act like I was a terrorist until my father basically started screaming, "He's a boy. He's a boy." Much like Tommy, where they go, "It's a boy. But it was the Sahal with AR-15s at the Wailing Wall, so I could put the little note in that says, "Please stop confusing me for a girl because you're supposed to put a prayer inside," and that was my only hope, and it didn't work.
Wow,
it's true. Any mistaken identity stories, David?
I think Grace Slick one time jumped in front of me while I was walking down the aisle at an award show at American Music Awards, and she jumped in front of me, grabbed my ears, and just went "Paya." And then she said, "Thank you for saving rock and roll." And I said, "You're welcome." She introduced me to her daughter, and then they sat down, and I walked away thinking, I think she thought I was Eddie.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God. I was going to be like, Neil Young has never looked any better.
And there's another one where in Cream magazine, there was a real, let's sand on the buns kind of photographer that did this photo shoot thing. We were in San Francisco, and I think they thought I was Eddie because it's like the sappiest, embarrassing. They had they had the photos on the,
Is it hard to be known as the other guy from the famous band? Like, how long do you think it took before the edge got over? Or maybe, do you think Adam Clayton from U2 still gets or whatever the other guy is from U2 ever gets, known as the other guy from the band instead of Bono or the Edge?
I don't think he gives a shit.
Well, I mean, they're so rich they could probably just go in whatever Irish rubles they have or whatever.
Well, I was stunned when
Amnesty International money.
Like, there was a period of time where Adam would not show up at the stadium, and the tech would put on the stance and play the show.
Are you serious?
Wow. Why? Wow.
How do you know this? Were you at these shows?
Well, we did some shows together. We did shows together.
Pearl Jam U2, that would have been a huge. So what time frame was this?
That was in 92 in Italy.
And what were the U2 fans receptive to the Pearl Jam music? Do the kids like the Beatles? You know what I mean? Like, when you want the Monkeys, are you okay with the Beatles?
They appreciated it, but they came and imagine, picture, 100,000 soccer stadium, oval shape, cheapest tickets, $300 on the far end. You know what I mean? And even, it's like, I learned a lot at those shows because, one, when I found out that was the cheapest ticket price, we were all about that $10 thing and everything.
Is this the Ticketmaster ordeal?
And when we got out on the stage, we had to move the side fills in 65 feet. That's how huge the stage was.
What? Yeah.
Just so
Jesus.
I had cars hanging above my head. It was like that kind of a thing. But when they took the stage, their entire show, I understood what the difference was between us. Pearl Jam was a band that played live, and U2 was a band that performed a show. They had X's on the stage, so they would be standing in the right spot when that scene was set.
Well, I mean, in the defense of James Hetfield, you don't want to burn off your arm if you're not standing in the right place when the fire goes. Eddie might want that to happen to you because, we know that he hates drummers.
Back then, we never, we did washes. We never wanted or had a light show or any, the whole time I was in the band, we did none of that shit, Yeah, we were a band. We wore the same clothes, the same clothes I got on the bus that morning wearing.
I thought you were going to say you were wearing the same clothes like that you were wearing then right now. I was going to say to you, they look good. Did you wash them?
Oh, you're funny.
You don't have to be nice.
There was a tour that Eddie stopped washing his clothes.
Was it in defiance of anything, or was it just to upset all of you?
No, we were all going through a lot. We were in the biggest band in the world. We were paying ourselves $400 a month.
What?
What?
Can you elaborate on that?
How does that happen? Wait a minute. So the people so you didn't go to right to Jay-Z money spending the cheese. You're the biggest band in the world, killing it with verses, and you're
well, I remember when Versus came out. That night we were at our manager's house, and the album came out at midnight, and he started getting calls. And at one point, he looked at me and Mike, and he said, "Wow, you guys are making $72 a minute." What? Yeah, I mean, it blew our minds that
$72 a minute's a lot now, but let's just put that
in that record
Kanye terms. That's $750 a minute.
Records that barely, it hadn't really, it wasn't the time where records, if you didn't sell 3 or 4 million, you weren't even legitimate. I mean, it was just beginning that these huge numbers were coming in. It was still kind of rare to sell 2 million albums, 3 million albums, much less to, sell 1 million in a week was crazy. But yeah, we paid ourselves. We were on the road, period. So we didn't really need money. So we just paid ourselves $400 a month, paid back the record label so we could then disappear and make our album and call them call them right before we left the studio and say, "Hey, we got our record." You wanna come here? Which is what we did. It was amazing. All these,
what a different time we were living in.
Very disarmed record moguls showing up at the site, crowding on a couch to hear that their biggest, their hope for the future.
Well, you certainly didn't let them down, setting the world record for being the fastest selling record and not going into the sophomore slump where, you could have done the Candlebox thing. Let's throw out Candlebox because I love that first record, but I thought that second record was kind of dog shit. And you know what? I've listened to it again and I still maintain it still kind of sounds like dog shit. And the first record sounds fucking awesome. Pearl Jam 10 sounds, obviously people love it. Don't need to sell it to anybody. Versus it's kind of like Pantera, for me, because I'm a metalhead. Cowboys
Tim Palmer,
from Hell.
Don't forget.
Yes.
That 10 record, Tim Palmer, Now and Zen, all that Robert Plant stuff.
So much.
Unbelievable.
But it's 10 is your Cowboys from Hell, whereas Versus is your vulgar display of power. You know what I mean? And for me, a lot of people understand that Cowboys from Hell is superior in some ways because it became before vulgar. But anyone that's really a true Pantera fan, instead of Pearl Jam, we'll just interchange them, knows that really the best one was vulgar. So that's that for me. Versus, I think that first week's sales, setting the world record, tells you not only did people give a fuck about what you did on tour, sir, but that second record spoke for itself, which to me it did. I mean, from the very beginning to the very end, if you listen to Versus, unlike Vitalogy, apparently, which we heard from you on our previous podcast, if you haven't heard it, go back and fucking catch the fuck up. Versus is a record that has a side A, has a side B, and it feels like a record from start to finish. You listen to it with headphones on, and you just get lost in it. And it's pretty fucking incredible, dude, how you guys did that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting because it actually almost follows the line in which we recorded the songs too. We got to the studio with all this energy. The first thing we did was go and so on and so on and so on. And, we went in and made a record for sure. We didn't just go record a bunch of songs.
I mean, think about Go. Just name for a song. That just, does it say anything? Just fucking go, Dave. Not why go, just go. Siobhán's what do you mean? I didn't follow Green Day.
Stop. No, I mean, obviously.
She's I only know Stravinsky and
No,
Bong.
that's not true. No, but I mean, I definitely pale in comparison to your level of knowledge with a lot of the
because while you were learning, while you were learning Beethoven and J.S. Bach, the real music, I was tripping on acid. You know what I mean? Fucking coming down, listening to Verses, and going, maybe the world isn't as crazy as I thought it was.
Yeah. Boy, that illusion got squashed that 2 years Pearl Jam took off, didn't it?
Oh man, right? Cory, what do you think?
I just hope that I'm actually on this call at the moment. It's hard to tell.
Hey.
By the way, welcome. You got 2020 again. Xfinity.
Yes.
First
Xfinity.
off, not only are you not a sponsor, you're fucking taking away.
Down with Xfinity.
I know.
You either add value or you take away. And you're not adding any value, Xfinity. You're taking away from our fucking podcast. You fuck.
Yeah. No, this is all fascinating. Like it's great to hear some of the perspective from behind the scenes. And it's funny, like, I know Siobhán doesn't have the familiarity with Pearl Jam that Ben has, and I'm kind of in between because I got honestly turned off from how in my face all the radio songs from Pearl Jam were around that time, and especially a lot of cover bands and friends and bands would cover Pearl Jam horribly. like trying to emulate the power and like the feel in those songs, and you got like 16, 17-year-olds just hacking through these chords. So I feel like I definitely I had a little bit of
Does anyone actually know the lyrics to Even Flow?
Yeah, a lot of vowels, I think there's
I actually
by the way, you guys could totally license that to like one of those Tampax commercials, Even flow.
Yeah, shut up.
You think Eddie would do it? You think Eddie would do it? He's got to believe it.
I don't know. It's baby stuff. It's not. Did you say tampons? No, it's baby stuff, man.
Okay, fair enough.
Not tampons. No, I don't think he would.
So Siobhán, you don't know anything about David. Like, why don't you be a third-party omniscient versus I've been the obnoxious fan asking about like really deep stuff. But for our listeners that go, hey man, I don't know the difference between Post Malone and Drake. Why don't we talk to David like that?
Yeah, well, I mean, from my perspective, what interests me is coming from someone who plays like pre-composed music most of the time. I'm totally interested in the writing process, which I know we've talked a lot about. And also just like the relationships and the dynamic of working with people in a band, because I think especially as time has gone on and things have become a lot more like less jam oriented, people go in and they record parts one at a time, or you're doing it, booking studio time, recording to a click, you're on a grid, everything's so different. And I feel like some of these stories of your interactions with the different band members is totally interesting. And just the trajectory of how it was from start to finish. And I know we talked a lot about getting involved in these projects and what went on while you were in it. But I'm almost interested on what happened on the way out, as things ended with Pearl Jam or with Guns N' Roses. Like,
fantastic. Hold on. I'm going to just lean over this way while Benny talks for a second.
Okay.
Benny, do you know about the
smoking weed off camera? Yeah, I know all about it.
The International Motherfuckers? Do you know that group?
What? No, I don't know.
No, but I feel like I should be part of it.
I'm so surprised you don't. The IMFs. It's it was there are a couple incarnations. TM Stevens on bass, Stevie Salas from Mick Jagger and Rod Stewart's incredible guitar player, and his band Color Code on guitar, and Bernard Fowler from Stones singing, and me on drums, and we just go to Germany and play each other's songs for 6 weeks.
That's sick.
That's awesome.
Hey, by the way, listen, I know you're in an undisclosed location, but I'm going to go on our show and say this, that one, I'm very excited that we're working on music this year, and then I hope that we can continue to work on music, a lot of original tunes, and that I want to tell you, so one of the things I'm excited about with David is that there's very few people, like Paul is a soul brother of mine, Siobhán and Cory are both like musical soul people of mine in the sense that we complete each other's musical sentences, but David has, from the beginning when I had my band Benny and the Jets, which was a joke, but like whatever, he's played on stuff and he's encouraged my voice and he's really enjoyed my writing. And I got to tell you that, one of the great things that I really enjoy about you is that you're such a positive person and that you believe in people, and that at every step of the way with Lost Symphony, and then every step of the way with the other stuff that we've done, we did a cover of Here Comes the Rain Again and a bunch of other stuff. He's just been so positive, and you're always just so excited to be a part of it, dude. Like, you live music, whereas we've worked with a lot of people in the music industry, and let's just say they're not as forthcoming as you are.
Well, I'm blessed by knowing you because I'm not always that way. I've definitely, I've seen how far that cassette would fly behind my car while, listening to someone's demo. I've flung many a CD out the car window. I have a story. I don't know if I could remember it, but it fully and proper enough of that you would love. But there's a point to music, and it's really important to me that, when I feel something from it, I don't even know how to describe it. That it's just important. That's all. It's important to see it through. It's not about, sometimes it's about sharing it with people because of the feeling it gives me, but it's just important. That's all. And ever since you reached out and we first started our musical dialogue, I've always felt there's that sense of importance to your stuff. And it's also, when I sit down and just play what I feel belongs and it is, doing this remote recording stuff and it works, it's because I don't know, it's because I felt it the right way, and so, but yeah, I'm definitely a cynical asshole when it comes to annoying things called.
Well, that's really like, honestly, that's a really humbling compliment because, I always say that, like, I can't change my own oil, but like I do pride myself in my musical abilities. But it's really nice because I say it all the time, but one of the first people was Bumblefoot. He wrote to me like, this music is beautiful. And you were immediately receptive to me. And on my birthday, like, even reached out and said happy birthday to me. And, we got you on this song. And I remember telling Cory, he's not going to send us anything. Because you kept saying that, like, you had different things happen. Like, you're on your motor scooter. Like, where's your motor scooter? And they're like, yeah, there was an outage of the internet where I am. Like, where's that? You have the Velociraptor take? And, like, you're like, I can't tell you. But, like, every single time, you're like, I'm building a new drum room. And then, like, the natives, are after me. Like, it's like, they're after me. They're after me. I don't know how they found me, but they're after me. Like, I don't know. But every single time you say you're going to do something, even if it's months later, you've always come through. And, there's a lot of people that I've reached out to, that they're like, talk to my manager, we'll see, kid. Blah, blah, blah. And you're just like, yeah, man, if I vibe with this, cool. And then, like, you sent us tracks. And you've also always been there in the sense that we immediately talked. We vibed on a personal level. And you even played on, like, again, my personal stuff that will probably see the light of day, I guess, on a solo record or something. But it's just so good. And I'm so humbled because even people that seen that I've, like, done stuff with you on Facebook, they're just like, how did you get that guy? How did you get David from Pearl Jam? And I'm just like, I have no idea why he has any interest in me whatsoever. I am completely dumbfounded why he wastes his time wherever he is in the world, doing his shit.
No, man, you inspiration comes in many forms.
As we've learned live in real time.
Okay, you want a story? I can give you a little story.
Let's hear it.
Oh, all right. And this is the after Pearl Jam kind of. I really didn't know musically. It really messed me up, and I ended up forming this project with people that inspired me when I was a kid growing up, and we made a couple records, and that's a whole other ball of wax of how a big machine can crush a little machine when they need to. But really proud of those records. And then, I had this studio cooking for a while, and a good friend of mine in his band, I said, don't you? The whole thing was about allowing people to be in a world-class situation to document that time in their life where this was important to them. Because, that's pretty much all it is. If you don't, you got to change your mind sometimes and start living a real life. But I get this demo and I listen to it. I'm like blown the fuck away. It's just like, there was not one bad song in the the sound. I mean, it was like, if this was a record, I would love this record. It would influence me. It was amazing. Mm-hmm. Every part of it. The drumming, a friend of mine was drumming in the band, and it was a cassette that was dropped off the door of my studio. Okay, so I went in and side A, put it in, listened, blew my mind. So I took them all to dinner, and I was like, you guys should come in, and I don't know what I can do. It sounds great. There's really no production angle, but you can come in and record your record. I'd love to do it. And they were really blown away because I was talking about the production, and they're looking at me like, what the fuck? And I told my friend Perry his drumming was exceptional. He'd grown so much in such a short time. And he's looking at me like, huh? And so we scheduled the time and everything, and everyone was excited. And I let everyone pick out whatever they wanted to use in my gear or whatever. And we set up in the big room, big, beautiful drum set for Perry, and spent all day getting sounds that were incredible. And I was really excited. And so I said, well, what song do you think you guys want to start with? It was just me and my friend, their drummer, Perry. And he said, I don't know. I said, well, how about just the first one? So I rewound the cassette, and I hit play, and I cranked up my monitors and sat and listened to the song. When it was over, I noticed my friend he just looked different. And he said, who was that?
Oh, no.
And I said, I know, right? That's what I said. It blew my mind. And I said, let's listen to it again. So it's really loud, and I'm just, I'm preparing to record what I think is going to just be, I'm just going to be lucky to be a part of documenting this music. And I look over halfway, and his lips quivering a little bit. And I thought, oh no. Their demo was on side B. What I was listening to was Cheap Trick's first record.
Oh, that's so funny.
I never even knew that record was so great.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Is Surrender on the first one?
No.
Okay, I don't know.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
It's a great, great record though.
But that's hilarious, dude, that you fucking, oh my God. Poor
then
man.
Then I had to do I was just messing with you, and I turned the cassette over and hit rewind.
It was just a
side
test.
side B, and it was the worst dribble you ever heard.
Oh no, God.
Oh yeah. I mean, well, you know what? I got to take that back because this is a podcast. What the fuck? It wasn't. I was exaggerating. It wasn't in that situation. It was the exact opposite of what I was hoping it would be.
Yeah, relatively speaking, to Cheap Trick, it wasn't that great. Yeah.
Well, it wasn't bad, but it just yeah. I
mean, listen, Lost Symphony, relatively speaking, to Cheap Trick is just so different. You should go listen to it and see it for yourself.
Don't edit out the dribble. It's okay.
There's a lot of dribble.
It was pretty bad.
Usually when I'm talking.
Yeah, there's a lot of dribble in our prior episodes from Ben's mouth. So
my mother told me that I was really good at polishing.
Hold on.
Turds.
So speaking of polishing turds, when did you realize that that Eddie Vedder hates drummers?
The moment that I hit that cymbal on the instead of on the one when he was coming down to hit it with me, and I got really fed up with it, so I hit it on the and he ended up with 17 stitches.
Ooh.
So
was that a passive aggressive?
That was sly.
Wait, hold on a second. So what inspired that? You said you were fed up with it. So what did Eddie do to inspire you to give him 17 stitches instead of just, going with the beat?
He had a way of inspiring me to beat the shit out of my drums. Again, I respected him a lot, but it's like
he was kind of like the Joe Jackson to your Michael Jackson drum kit.
He created a lot of turmoil, I guess, but it was an energetic within me, just our personalities.
So it's like that Tolstoy, every country needs a little war.
Well, rock and roll, man, you got to have some emotion or you end up with Pearl Jam.
Well, do you think it was intentional, or was it just naturally how your personalities rubbed?
I think it
inevitable.
I think it was the level at which we had taken the power of the music of those songs, so it had to take his, he had to sing the songs from 10 so much stronger than he would have had he had a different Pearl Jam behind him. You know, now when he sings, he does it like this. Da, 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 da. And he would have looked like an idiot.
Are you saying that he doesn't have the same angst now that he has a black card as he did when he wrote Black?
I don't know.
I know. I've seen him. He seems a lot more mellow. He drinks a lot of vino. You know what I mean? It doesn't sound as angry. I mean, he sounds angry, but not like angry like the angry that I remember. Subdued.
Well, who wants to watch a middle-aged guy yell at him?
Well, I mean, but how long can you be angry? That's why I like Billy Joel. He's like, thanks for realizing I stopped caring about writing music for you in 1993, and I'm just going to keep playing these songs. Whereas like people go, I want to take you seriously. You know what I mean? Like he's not that angry anymore, but he was angry at one point. And when you were in that band, I remember thinking to myself, much like Jim Morrison. So my buddy John Garabedian, I'm not going to kill his Jim Morrison story, but I'll tell you the story. Because I play this game. Do you remember the open house party with John Garabedian? You probably don't because it's pop music. But he used to have a great radio program, and I used to try to stump him going, I'll name a rock star, Jimi Hendrix, and he'll have a story. So I said, Jim Morrison. And he goes, oh, I was the MC at the Boston Garden. I remember seeing him, I don't know, it's 69 or whatever, or 68. And he says that Jim Morrison got so wasted on the second night that he passed out on the ride, on one of the speakers stands, and that the band kept playing, and that 8 minutes into it, he gets back up and the whole place cheers. You know what I mean? And I remember thinking to myself with Eddie Vedder back in the day that he had that thing about him that Jim Morrison did, that Maynard James Keenan tries to do by not moving for 2-hour sets, where you go, oh my God, what's Eddie gonna do? Is he gonna write something on his arm? Is he going to say something? Is he going to do something? Is he not going to do something? Is he going to have... I used to wonder what the banter was going to be after the song. He was like Howard Stern, where you wanted to know what he was going to do next.
But, I mean, do you really think that Hendrix didn't know what he was doing? Or that Jim Morrison didn't know what he was doing?
Oh, I know Jim Morrison didn't know what he was doing, dude. I've taken that amount of acid, and there's no way. I mean, unless you taking peyote every fucking weekend, there's no way you know what you're doing. The fact that Santana could even play a set at Woodstock is mind-boggling. Just shows you how fucking weak that shit was back then.
Well, I'm just speaking in terms of the awareness of. I mean, you know where the cameras are going to be when what you're going after needs cameras. I mean, it wasn't by chance. It's just like the Beatles, arriving at Shea Stadium. The people there were filmed days before the plane arrived. I mean, it's the entertainment industry, and it's a bunch of bullshit. I mean, Zeppelin weren't occultists; they were fucking goddamn bunch of dudes with fucked up teeth who made great music. And then Peter Grant shaved his eyebrows, and
that's what you took from it was
Satan
fucked up
became
teeth.
their sales point.
Yeah, show business. Yeah.
I mean, so Aleister Crowley took a dump behind a shed supposedly on Jimi Hendrix's property. Really? Or I mean, on Jimmy Page's property. Jimmy Page just seems like a nice old dude now, doesn't he? Not so much the occultist guy that he was when he was.
Well, listen, I remember that they tried saying that the weird noise at the end of Crazy Train where he goes, an egg, was him trying to say shoot, shoot, shoot. And they were trying to frame that Slayer and Ozzy Osbourne were systematic ways to help people commit suicide. Suicide Solution wasn't about Bon Scott, you know what I mean, drinking himself to death. And it's fucking crazy how, people nowadays have such... They explain how to make bombs online. They explain how to, on TV shows, how you can break into the Bank of Spain. I feel like I could murder my girlfriend with succinylcholine, and no one would know unless they test for it. Because Law and Order SVU said the toxicologists, unless they look for it, they won't even know.
That got dark.
David probably can empathize.
Yeah, the overall point being that I think the people have always tried to find a scapegoat for issues, and then sometimes I think maybe bands and their management and PR people might lean into that to create a false
when they could
narrative like that. Yeah.
When they could, now information and news and all these things happen so fast that there's really no time. I mean, we used to seek out those monthly magazines to read about, the stories were being, the last thing that existed in that had that frame of mind was the National Enquirer, that the PR people would, it was Michael Jackson's publicity wing, and it was Elizabeth Taylor's publicity wing that put those stories about the monkey and all that bullshit in those things to keep these people relevant. It's a bunch of people with good marketing brains, marketing product.
Yeah.
Speaking of marketing product, we're in a band called Lost Symphony, which is why we're on this podcast. And David was nice enough to play on a song called The Garden of Earthly Delights, which is actually going to be on chapter 2. David, do you have any opinion on the band? Obviously now that we're all watching you and on the podcast, we have, we want your honest opinion, including on the drums, because we'll let Paul watch it and he can be like,
my opinions are personal. I haven't looked at the project as a product.
We don't want you to.
Oh yeah, well, man, I think it's. I'm impressed with it from production, engineering, pulling it together, pulling it off, orchestrating both the music and just the project itself. It's a project that was worth the effort you put into it, for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're
going to use that for our quote.
It was worth it.
I haven't experienced any part of it that seemed frivolous.
He's like, I listened to the first 7 seconds.
I'm listening to people work hard and achieve something in every part of it.
Oh, thank you, man.
It's awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you. I mean, it's rare these days that people see through something, to a completion that's actually, allowed to be bigger than they are.
Yeah. That's huge. And kind of speaking of these days, what are you up to? Like what's in your world?
Bruce Wayne in Gotham over there.
Man, I think I need somebody to organize my shit.
So I think we all do. I don't know.
Lots of stuff. I mean, from a new thing, I'm doing an animated voiceover for a cartoon. Should be interesting.
That's awesome.
What cartoon?
Fundamentally Cynical.
What channel is that going to be on?
He's a young guy who came up with it. It's something that Amazon Prime has gotten behind.
Wow.
But it's out.
Cool. Really?
Way out. Yeah.
Yeah. Is this your first time doing voiceover work?
Well, I used to do a lot of Foley stuff, so nice. I said things like "Call me Daddy,"
Call me Daddy.
That's great.
But I was a kitty cat. No, so no.
Can you make a kitty cat? What's the kitty cat sound? I want the David kitty cat sound.
Really?
Yeah, we're waiting.
I love cats, man.
You really want that?
I love cats.
He's a cat man.
I want to hear it. I'm going to close my eyes to see if it's real.
Huh. Wait, I'm just seeing how long you're going to wait.
We'll have to tune in for the kitty cat.
We'll have to save that for episode 3.
Well, it wasn't a very good kitty cat.
But that's a show that's out now on Amazon Prime, or is it coming out on Amazon Prime?
It's out now. I think it's his second season, and I'm gonna be a newscaster.
Nice.
Just check it out.
Well, awesome. You should check it out anyway. He's a creative. He's a young dude from Connecticut. I mean, I think I don't know if it's part of his bio, but it strikes me because I think he's still in high school.
Wow.
So what was the name of that? What was the name of it one more time?
Fundamentally Cynical.
Huh.
Nice.
Yeah, I've watched a little. It's pretty whack.
That's great. Do you have any musical projects that you're working on right now?
Yeah, I'm actually a lot. Just working on a lot of music, and I was doing a record for myself, a me record, and I got in touch with Sean Smith, who sang with Stone's Brad Project and Satchel and some of he's a Seattle guy, and I've just always liked him and liked his voice. And he had done some work with Michael Shreve and some other people, and he from what I understood, he was like me. If a song was happening, he would just see it through. It didn't matter, it just had to come out. So I got in touch with him, and we started sending music back and forth, and it was just, it was amazing. It was an amazing friendship, and he came out to where I live, and we spent some time messing with his Jesus. Came up with some. I mean, we just, where we were coming from, and he was a very, we understood each other emotionally. We were connected in a pretty profound way, and so the things that were coming out, I mean, he was representing both of us, and in the scats and the melodies and the feelings, and it was blowing my mind. And then we took a little time. He was back in Seattle, and he was headed back over, and he passed away in his sleep. So just like,
oh my God.
It was really tough. It was a tough one, and I just gotten a lot of music from him. It's a record I have to finish it. But of course,
absolutely,
yeah.
You're on the last song we recorded with Ollie. Period. The Garden of Berkeley Delights was the last song. We never even finished it with Ollie. We just did our first round or whatever, and that was it. So that song ended up, turning into the guitar duel that it is, because Ollie only did certain parts of it, and we really appreciated you being part of it. But I think it is a really important thing when your friends pass to see their music to fruition. And we appreciate your helping us bring Ollie's music to fruition, because it's really, truly the last thing. And same thing with Here Comes the Rain Again was one of the last things we did. One of the last things we did in between sessions. So it's really true, the last music, and I couldn't, thank you enough. And I think with your friend, first off, cheers to the heavens. And hopefully you can bring the music to life, and I certainly will help you if you need any help in any way.
Oh, well, no, yeah, there's no doubt about it. I mean, I think keyboard. Don't touch it, Siobhán. Actually, wait a second now. I do remember a video call with you where you were kind of a little wound up, maybe.
No, normal.
No, Ben.
No way.
You were at the piano, and there was a beautiful young lady casually sitting near you, and I think I got the feeling that you already were confident that she was impressed, so you'd known her for a while or something. But I was showing you some Sean stuff, and you were like, "Oh yeah, it's a blah blah and it's blah blah and blah 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 blah," and you just did this beautiful grand version of his 3-finger chord.
Yeah, no, it was cool, man, because I remember that.
It was incredibly uplifting, but at the same time, what was coming out of your mouth was.
Well, you have to understand that so if you can understand 4-way coordination, where one hand's doing something else, and maybe your right hand isn't lining up with your.
What are you doing, Ben? What is this?
What I'm saying is at my mouth when I'm speaking English, I say a lot of bullshit.
Yeah.
But then I say a lot of really cool stuff with this. My hands are speaking French, but my mouth is speaking Pig Latin.
But do you speak Greek as well?
Yeah. Yeah, only with the record label. Hey, man, we need to promote the record. Can you give us money for 2020? Go to lostsymphony.com.
Well, yes.
Laugh at his jokes, tickle his balls, and make him a sandwich. He's all yours.
Your guide to the music business, right?
Brought to you by David Abbruzzese.
No, it's a good relationship.
Yeah, David. So I think would love to hear that project. I hope someday soon.
You will. It's coming together really cool. There's so much music and so much just so much stuff.
That's great.
Yeah,
you're gonna hear a lot of it because I'm gonna be hitting you up to mix some drums because you made
any time, man. I would be honored.
Hey, listen, man. I think I speak for all of us that we'd all love to be a part of anything that you're doing, David.
Yeah,
and,
anytime.
And that we're just huge. We're huge fans of you. And I can tell you, even doing like my crappy Benny and the Jet stuff, like you've just been always such a super positive guy, and everything you've ever delivered to me has been gold. And we're excited about what the other song, and I look forward to seeing what you dish up for us. Do you have any advice for people who are like locked down on the 2020 pandemic, as far as like what they could be doing to study and to get to be a drummer as good as you, with so much stuff that you don't even have enough time in the day?
Well, if they're like me, they are dealing with it already with Bong hits and Bonham, and this isn't nothing I say would matter.
Bong
but
hits and
if
Bonham.
they're not, I would wish for people is that they could, even if just use music to get some sanity back, in your perspective, because it's way too easy to get your ass. Somebody just twist your ass right over your head. I walk around and like with the cell phone when it goes off, and luckily I never played a show where people held their cell phones up. Realize that?
Amazing. No, that's amazing. That people
never
were there, in the moment. Yeah.
Never saw it, and I saw lighters. That was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
But like the phone, I've never been. I'm still old school with it. It's not like I don't dive for it, so it puts a lot of people off. Because like if I'm doing something and my phone rings, I'm doing something,
right?
And my phone's ringing. It's kind of the old school thing. But now it's not like that. It seems like everyone's really upset, uptight, and impatient, and everything's, if someone calls and you don't answer, then even though they were just calling to say, hey.
Well, it's the pandemic. We know you're home, David. So if you don't pick up, then you're
hey, I'm not talking to you. Hey, man. But it just, that thing happens where it just seems like everyone's so uptight. So hopefully, a lot of people around me here have started getting in music and looking at it in a different way with the time that they have. And I don't know. For me, it's just the way I was inspired. It was because music brought me into it. So but I can't. That just happens, and hopefully, it happens for everybody.
Yeah.
But hopefully, use the time to suck and get better. There you go.
Yes, that's key advice.
Yeah.
Suck.
No,
suck
that's great.
Yeah.
No, but
and
this
it is cool seeing so many courageous young people hacking an instrument up and soulfully presenting a horrible version of something because it's meaningful to them on the internet, putting it out there, But at the same time, I enjoy seeing that there's that outlet and that kind of bravery. But as I'm saying it, I always do wish they'd practice a little more for me.
So funny. Yeah.
There's definitely, there's elements. You have to have the feel and the inspiration. It has to be important to you, but you got to be able to, you have to have the language to express that. And that's where the practice and all that stuff comes in.
Well, you got to be willing to just, I guess, it's a way of living your life, it just, you trip and fall over your inspirations, and the way you react to them, knee jerk, it makes you a better person, musician, whatever it is. I don't know. That's the universe, I guess.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
A lot of people can wish to be something, or want to, but you just, I don't know. Universe is a funny place.
Yeah. Well, and the young generation wants immediate gratification, which is, I'm sure, symptomatic of, cell phones and immediate news and all that. And you can be a star on TikTok doing something really stupid. But I think it's a great time, to really embrace the fact that things are a process, and you have to be patient. And if it's not enough to love it and to want to get up and do it every day, no matter how good you are, you learn a lot from that.
Absolutely. Well, here, just for the three of you to know, my daughter, Francesca, is the exact opposite of what you that thought of how kids are.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
She's unbelievable.
That's wonderful. It's amazing.
I mean, hope. She brings hope to me, and I'm a very, very valuable.
Great. You gotta raise them right. You gotta combat this other mentality.
Man, it's funny. My dad, all he said was, enjoy watching her become who she is.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
You think Anne-Marie Cronin said that? She said, just enjoy watching who you're becoming? Or do you think she was excited to help malleably change you, Siobhán, by encouraging you, by hitting you with a ruler?
No, she was never like that.
You were fat, or
no, my mom is a very intense person, but she had an intense life. She came here as an immigrant with no money, and she dealt with a lot of flack from people.
Is that why she wears $8,000 million worth of diamonds every time I see her? I've never seen a girl more iced out other than at the Tupac opening. I mean, your mom has such crazy jewelry. Anne-Marie is a rock star. Literally, you think you're cool? You think you made Pearl Jam money? You didn't make Anne-Marie Cronin money. She shows up and she's
we just lost him.
Yeah, we'll lose him, but whatever. David, we love you. He's awesome. But Anne-Marie Cronin money, I went out one time with you guys to Legal Seafoods, and I could not believe how many diamonds she was casually wearing. And they all looked good. They're all coal mine diamonds.
We got you. No, it's back.
Yeah, you're back.
No, I think.
Yeah, I don't remember what my point was somehow. No, but I was trying to tell you. No, she didn't beat me with the ruler. No, my parents were always. I think they would be totally on board with that. See the person that I'm becoming, and I think that they just wanted me to value the right things, wanting to learn for the purpose of learning, wanting to appreciate art for the purpose of art. Wanting to learn languages for the purpose of being able to learn from other people. I think they just wanted me to be well-rounded and educated, but they expected if I was going to do something that I was serious, because it's not easy. I do play tennis, but I'm not very good at it.
Of course you do.
But no, but I'm not good at it. Honestly, I wasn't serious about it. I mean, I skipped out on tennis practice to go to music rehearsal, and they were like, well, you clearly don't care about tennis.
What's the name of that game that you play on the top of a ship where you use one of those things and you push the thing?
Shuffleboard? No.
This is probably a good time to wrap it up.
Well, hold on.
Yeah.
Because I missed everything was cutting in and out, and it was hanging out.
Okay.
We were saying how awesome you were.
I missed everything that you were saying about your. I heard something about tennis.
Oh, it was all Ben giving me a hard time, making me feel fancy. But no,
fancy. She knows how to joust. He knows 6 languages, origami.
No, I don't. I speak French and very bad Spanish.
How many degrees do you have?
Well, I have 2 bachelor's degrees and then a master's degree.
You said well. That already tells you more than me.
Degrees don't matter. You know what? I've learned more from people in life that haven't gone to school at all than I have from teachers in school.
Says somebody with 3 degrees. That's the honest to God truth.
No, it's true.
I'll tell you now, I have an 8th grade education.
But you're so wise. See, it doesn't even matter to me what degrees people have, because most of what you learn and what makes you.
So what degree near the equator would you say you are, David?
It's Celsius, and that kind of fucks me up. So I
don't know. Okay. Just making sure. We could be talking Kelvin.
Yeah.
Well, the water does turn the other direction.
All right.
When I flush it.
We're narrowing it down.
We are narrowing it down, but we do want to say on behalf of Lost Symphony that Chapter 2. If you like guitar, if you're one of those guys that goes, I want to hear what's the craziest technique, I want to hear the fastest thing, you can hear Siobhán shred it up on the violin. You can hear Joey Concepcion, Rusty Cooley, who, as you know, in the 90s was playing 4 notes on a string, like Matt LaPierre. It's just Kelly, who's already in the band, obviously. Like, it is literally complete bananas. Whereas one of those things where, you know, when you watch Spinal Tap and they go, how do you make it one more? This is kind of our one more. Whereas if you don't
We're turning up to 11 out of 10.
Yeah, if you don't like guitars that are over the top and slightly self-indulgent, then you should go to the next track. But if you like crazy guitars and you like unbelievable groove and like a lot of, like, there's a lot of development that went into this song. This song was a long-term composition. So I don't want to diminish it by saying it was a throwaway shred piece, because it wasn't.
Good for you. I was waiting for you to take a breath so I could tell you that, you know, actually what I heard was some incredibly, like, mind-boggling soloing, but there's songs there. You know, there's when you put on headphones or sit in the right spot and you close your eyes and listen, you're actually, you know, there's a room around you. And, you know, there's songs.
It's called the sound staging. Thank you, Cory Peza.
Well,
yeah, those notes though, they have to be the right ones.
They do.
Don't they?
Yeah, arrangement and composition is everything.
Sure.
Yeah.
We talked Siobhán Dollar.
You didn't leave me disappointed or too, you know, and I really get, like, it's not a Tony McAlpine record. It's not an Yngwie Malmsteen record. It's not like that.
Yeah.
So it's not neoclassical, is it?
I don't know what that means.
No, I didn't either.
Ben has ulterior motives.
I have ulterior motives.
That question.
No, I only say it because my man crush thinks that we were slightly neoclassical. I'm like, I really don't think we're neoclassical. And he goes, orchestra, blah, blah. It's neoclassical. And I'm like, but I feel like Rising Force
Pop music has
and
orchestra
Tony
in it
McAlpine are neoclassical. And even a little bit of Uli John Roth is neoclassical. And we're like more of like, you know, cinematic. And we do have classical influences, but like, it's not neoclassical. We have just straight up real classical influences. I'm not influenced by Yngwie. I'm influenced by Paganini.
I like a good panini too, but what's that got to do with anything?
Yes.
The question is, can you eat 24 of them in one sitting?
That was nice.
Not true though. I could eat 24 paninis.
Well, I mean, just like Paganini's 24th Caprice. You know what I mean?
Look at this.
Paninis. Ooh.
Oh wow!
Is that a 50s?
Oh no, it's a new one. A friend Bo designed it and built it.
All the drummers are like, dude, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Seriously,
it's crazy. But it's going to be I'm bringing it to the studio. I think I'm tracking day after tomorrow, your stuff. So
nice.
Well,
sweet.
But I just want to say, first off, from the bottom of my heart and everybody on the show, thank you so much, David, for coming down and to your own house, wherever you are, in whatever layer you're in whatever time zone, and taking the time. I know that it's late because you had to brew coffee to make it happen. So, like, we want to say thank you for riding out the storm. Corey's just gonna leave. He basically said, "Yeah, look at that.
Amazing.
You're
that
at a palace. Amazing. That's the Pearl Jam money right there. That's the Vitalogy money."
Actually, no, it's not. Wait, I got to find the right button so I can get back. Oh, there we go. You know, there's so much else. We'll have to talk again because you'll have to do a show that.
Yes, we will have to talk. We will have to talk
how
again.
How you learn about people. There's a lot of people that.
Well, listen, we want to talk. There's so many things that we do want to talk to you about, and I really appreciate you coming on the show. And first off, being so candid and talking about those things. And I can't wait to hear the drum tracks you serve up. And, you know, I think I speak on behalf of all the listeners that we can't wait to have you on again. So, you know, just
Absolutely.
let me and Siobhán know. Answer our messages, Mr. Busy.
Oh, yeah. And plus, you know, it is recorded. So we'll be talking more because there's so much music. You know, Sean Smith and everything we were doing had strings on it. So.
Awesome.
Well,
amazing.
Siobhán, well, listen,
Love
if you want to get a hold of Siobhán, you can always call me. I am happy to play the intermediary.
Get in touch with me anytime. I'm always here.
Okay. All right. Well, love to all three of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank
and everyone
you
out
so
there in
much.
2020
What a pleasure.
land, keep with the horde. Thank you, David. Cheers. See you next week.
Thank you.